Core asks,
what's the funniest, awkwardest conversation you guys had with Koreans?
This was actually a little bit of a difficult question for us to answer because we haven't really had very many awkward conversations.
That's right.
Yeah, even if our Korean is really small and the person's English is really small, we like hand signal and flail like we're
find
on
a way to
show.
come to a middle ground and communicate with each other.
Yeah, so it's never really been that awkward, but I think we can think of just a couple of situations where something went terribly wrong.
There are some golden moments.
Yes.
So the situations we're about to relate to aren't really mistranslations as much as they are just awkward.
How about you dancing around with no pants because you lost them in super slow motion?
That's not awkward, that's brilliant.
That's pretty awkward. I'm like, where are your pants? And you're like, I lost them in super slow motion.
How many of you now have sang that when you lost your pants? Raise your hand if you lost your pants. Hands up. I see you there. That's right, Missy.
Okay, so backstory behind this before I actually start explaining my story. A while ago, we did a Korean like a pro video where Simon was dressed up like a Korean guy and came up to me wiggling his eyebrows and asking me if I was Russian.
Saram.
That's
Russian
right.
Saram. Russian Saram. So basically, if somebody asks you where you're from, it's a lot different than if an old Korean guy walks up to you and says, are you a Russian person? That has a completely different meaning here in Korea. It's insinuating the question of, are you a prostitute? And can we make a boom boom jiggity jiggity together?
Do you mean like play checkers?
If that's what you call it nowadays.
Hopscotch?
Think of it like leapfrog, except you're stuck on the person, you can't get over them, not that you're necessarily trying to.
So like you're tied to the person with ropes or something?
That's a
Like
possibility
capture the
if
flag
you're into
with like two
that.
people? So essentially what happened was it was the winter time and I was wearing a ginormous, puffy, feather-filled jacket, totally sexy as you might imagine in your head. And I was sitting on a bench waiting for Simon to meet up with me. And as I was sitting there bundled up to the nostrils in all types of winter clothing, an old man came up to me and sat down beside me and turned to me and said, Russian Sarah? With the eyebrow wiggles. So I immediately gave him the extremely cold shoulder and said, no, I'm Canadian. And I said it in Korean very clearly, but he insisted that I must have been somehow pretending that I was Russian. And so again, he was like, oh, 아니요, Russian Sarah. And so I emphasized again, not only am I Canadian, I'm also married and my husband's coming here, and I showed him my ring, in which he still didn't believe me. So then I got to the point where I had to pull out my handphone and show him the Canadian flag, which I had actually requested from the Canadian embassy from being called Russian so many times. Still he didn't get the hint. Then he asks me if I want to go get some food to eat. Finally, I had to turn around extremely rudely and say to him, I'm not Russian, I'm Canadian, I don't want food, I'm married, I have a husband, get lost.
How do you say get lost in Korean?
Naga!
Naga!
Like, get out! Finally, it took Simon showing up from the bus stop and me, like, bounding up to Simon like a happy, happy bunny, and the guy finally left.
And then it was really awkward when I picked up the subway card and I threw it at him, and then there was a police investigation afterwards. And we're actually wanted now in Korea after the death of a perverted old man.
Now Simon's story, which seems to be in a similar vein somehow.
So back when I was a teacher, I always had during my lunch breaks an open classroom policy. And I would let students come in there and try to practice their English through conversation. Now these conversations weren't meant to be formal about like the textbook stuff. It was all meant to be casual, just, you know, like slang here and talking about the day and stuff like that. Now the kids that most often came to my class were the ones that were really rambunctious in class and didn't really pay a lot of attention, but they were actually really good kids at heart and they would always come at lunch and want to chat with me. Anyhow, one of these days during these conversations at lunch, they all came together and they started talking about girlfriends. They all started like laughing and they pointed to one guy and they said, teacher, he has a girlfriend. And I'm like, that's good for you, fantastic. You know, I'm happy that you have a girlfriend outside of class and your life isn't dedicated to just studying. And then they all started going, teacher, oh yeah. And I didn't really understand what this is. Like, what is this motion?
It's a ketchup bottle.
Exactly. And I started asking him, I said, you know, what does this mean?
I'm trying to figure out if you're a troll teacher.
Well, no, because like this means something like I don't know, like rock, paper, scissors, you know, paper beats rock. Anyhow, and they say, you know, teacher, you know time. Well, now you know time, but like, you know, teacher, you know what this is. And I finally clued on. I'm like, oh, you mean like, you know, like this, you know, like finger. That's so wrong. But like, this is the motion that people usually do. To which I responded, this teacher no. Original. And I don't really understand how original, the word original applies to this motion right here.
It's some kind of new game they're playing with each other.
This is original style for some reason. I don't know. But from now on, whenever I hear the word original, it's been totally ruined for me.
The two of us will be at like a serious meeting and someone says the word an original idea and the two of us are under the table going
Thank you, students, for ruining a very good word.
Anyhow, on a non-sexual related conversation that I had with someone, when I was still teaching, I went to a couple open classes. And in open classes, when you go to another foreign teacher's school, you watch them teach, and then you meet other foreign teachers and get to know different teaching styles. At the time, I was like the only outgoing girl that was there. Everyone was pretty quiet. No one really had anything to say. So once the class was over, I kind of like shuffled away to join everyone else, and we went downstairs to get some food in the cafeteria. So we go downstairs for food, and I'm sitting at a table with my other foreign friends, and there's one open space in front of me. And suddenly, out of the blue, this VP from another school sits down right in front of me, puts down her tray, and says to me, "My face is uneven."
What do you
I
even
don't
say after that? Like, I have an itchy armpit?
I don't know. Anyways, I didn't really know what to say, so I was just kind of like, oh, I don't understand. And then she went on to say, "Your face is not uneven. Your face is very beautiful, but my face is uneven."
I just want to know if she learned that from like a conversation book. Like, here are your different options. You could say, "Hi, how are you? Hey, do you come around here often?" Or, "Hi, my face is uneven."
Now, the only thing I can think of is maybe there's some kind of like a Korean equivalent phrase that she was translating into English.
Like
So
an
in English-
idiom,
That's
like
exactly what I mean.
like the grass grows greener on the other side in English, while in Korea they're
It's
like, "My
like,
face,
"My
is,
face is
uneven."
uneven. It's
I don't know
really-
Korean idioms very well.
That's really the only thing I can think of.
But to this day, nobody has explained to Martina why their faces are uneven. So that's it for this TLDR. If you have a question for next TLDR, leave it in the Google moderator page.
Or check out the questions already asked and you can vote them up or you can vote them down.
And don't forget to subscribe for more TLDRs.
Simon,
Yes, love.
I meant to tell you this earlier, but
Okay.
your face,
It's
it's
beautiful.
uneven. I'm really sorry, honey. I don't know what to tell you.
Just say it about me on
Yeah,
television.
it's uneven. But I still love you with your uneven face. You're like a rhombus. Shift it off to the side.